How much, man? How's it going?
It's going.
Ready for
It's
this
going.
this Apex card?
Yeah, this is kind of a we'll throw you we'll throw you a card in between 299 and 300. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. 299 was actually pretty decent, but I didn't think it lived up to what I thought it was gonna be. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be the
No.
best card in a while, but
Yeah, but I mean, overall it was great. I mean the prelims were phenomenal.
yeah, prelims ended up better than the main card.
Yeah,
Honestly.
there were some really good matches.
Oh, dude, I've got some strong opinions on this card, which last week didn't get around to making any picks or a video or anything, but we did okay. We had Bulgarian, and that was the robbery of the century. Robbery
Yeah.
of the century. I've never seen anything like that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean that, and then you know with the Tui fight, I think we could have had the KO win with him by
Yeah.
a sub by Tabora. We knew that would be the way to win. Once you get him on the ground, it's a wrap. We should have seen it, but hindsight's 2020. Um, he'll be in bare knuckle boxing probably within a year. So
Should have seen also that just Tui has not been motivated. It feels like came out there was like Taco Bell in his waiting room before the fight. He just looked unmotivated, and then it goes in there, and he has nothing on the ground against a guy who pretty much his only path to victory is to grapple him. So just feels like Tui wasn't taking his career seriously, which sucks ass because he had all the talent in the world to do things and go far and have a decent run at it. But whatever. He went from a guy who knocked down Cyril Gahn to a guy who got submitted in the first round by Marcin Tybura.
yeah,
That's rough. That's a rough stretch to completely flip it around. But we're here. I'm sure we're going to disagree on a lot of picks this week. I've got some strong opinions. But the first one, Tim, I'll let you lead us off with the worst Usman brother.
yeah. All right. So Muhammad Usman versus Mick Parkin. So this fight, I think honestly, both these guys are not really UFC level. Um, Usman is the dog here. He's 10-2. He's a decision machine. Once he got to the UFC, I mean, he got a win. He knocked out Zach Pauga, who I don't think he's even in the UFC anymore, and he just signed. Decision win over Junior Tafa, which I'll give him credit for that, and then a decision win over Jake Collier. So that I don't think that's a very good win. And then on the other hand, you have McParkin, who's got a win over Kyle Machado, Jamal Pogues. Then he's got a sub win on the Contender Series. So both these guys were knocking people out, but then once they got to the UFC, they're just decision machines. I think is obviously is going to be a stand up fight, especially since these are are the bigger boys. I think the weight advantage that Mick Parkin has, and also coming from England, they have that more boxing heavy style. I like Mick Parkin to win the fight, but I'm not putting anything on this. It's not worth it. They could both lose a decision, to be honest with you.
Yeah, dude, I got the same opinion. This thing is gonna go all 3 rounds, and it's gonna be two sweaty boys rubbing bellies and getting their cesspool of sweat on each other. And Usman, I mean, the guy's striking is that of a grandpa. Like his right straight does not exist. I know he knocked out Pauga, but like you were talking, Pauga, I mean, where's the guy gone? Oh, straight back out of the UFC. He was an NFL fullback, and he comes into the UFC thinking he's going to do some crazy shit, um, and he just sucks. Pauga just sucks ass. And Usman beat him, and he's beaten two other people. None of them good. Parkin, he has a little more upside in the UFC. I'll give him that. He's got the full 265. He weighed in at 262 in that last one. He's 8-0, and he's 28 years old. So the guy's got a little bit more gas in the tank left than Muhammad Usman, who's 34, going to be 35, it looks like, right after fight day. It looks like next Tuesday he will be 35 years of age. So, Usman old, Parkin young. It's heavyweight, though. This is going to go 3 rounds. Either one of them can squeak out a decision. I'll take Parkin, but I have absolutely zero interest in having a single dime on this because it's probably going to be one of those 29-28s where one way and no one's really mad. No one really thinks it was a convincing win, but whatever, so no one really talks about it. But I'll take Parkin decision. I'm fine with that. Parkin, we'll lock it in here.
All right, so this next one is interesting. So it's Andre Lima versus Igor Severino. Both young guys, both undefeated. This kid Igor, he's 20 years old. He's 8-0, 4 knockouts, 4 subs. Whereas Lima is 5 knockouts, 2 decisions. The thing I noticed here is the younger kid Igor, even though he's only 20, I think his path to victory will be in the grappling. With him being a slight underdog, I don't mind maybe throwing a little teaser on him by submission. But I think this is going to be a closer fight, and I think I would go with under 2.5. I think these two young guys are going to give it all they got, especially both of them coming off contender series fights. The only difference is Severino finished his, and Lima went to a decision. So I do like this for Severino by submission, but more likely the under 2.5 on this one.
Yeah, so I have a little thing that I keep from the Contender Series, like what are those things called where it's like a yellow pad of paper? There's a certain name for it, legal pad or something. I got a legal pad where I take notes on the Contender Series, and last season, the only person that I wrote future champ next to is Andre Lima. I was fucking stoked by his performance. I was absolutely floored. The guy he fought was awful. The guy he fought was an absolute scrub. His name was like Rickson. And he came in. He didn't even want to fight. But Lima, I was absolutely blown away. So I'm going to pick him to win. This is a good test, though. This other kid is pretty good. This other kid is decent. He's 8-0. I watched some tape on him. He's got some skills. He looks good. He comes out and shoots a box. Good fighter. I think Lima is just the real deal here. It's one of those situations I thought the same thing about Bulgarian last week. I thought, he's the real deal. He ended up getting robbed. So anything's possible here. But this Lima kid, I also tweeted about it on one of my Twitter accounts. I said, this Lima kid could be a future champ. I'm sticking by it. I watched his Contender Series fight again. I went and watched one of his other fights. Dude on the feet is legitimately a problem at 125. He's got power at 125 that a lot of people don't have. But you did say it, and I'll say it as well. Igor Severino is going to have to get it to the mat. He's going to have to get takedowns, and if he gets those takedowns, there's a shot that he can get something done down there. I do think the other thing is being less than 21 years old. He's 20. He's going to be 21 in a month or 3 weeks or whatever. I do think that might be to his detriment here, just from a combat sports experience, because Lima has a lot of fights outside of MMA and Muay Thai and a whole bunch of other stuff. So he's got more than 7 fights under his belt when it comes to mixed martial arts. Igor, on the other hand, doesn't have that many because he's quite a bit younger. So I'm taking Lima mostly because I just think this guy is the fucking truth. And if he ever becomes champion, this clip is going to be all over my Twitter because I'm high on Lima. I'm really, really high on him. And so -185 here. I'm not afraid of that that much. I'll probably play a little bit, and I'll probably parlay a little bit with some people down the line. But Lima, and I think he's gonna knock him out and make a statement here.
All right, so you're at least on the under 2.5 with me.
Yeah, I think he gets it done like second round maybe. I think under 2.5 is a good bet here. Let me see. Oh, they don't even have that out on DraftKings right now. I haven't even seen what the line would be for that, but I would assume the over is going to be, you know, probably the favorite. I'd say we're probably going to get plus money on the under because it's 125, and they like to put,
Yeah.
goes the distance favored for little guys. But all right, what do we got next here? Montserrat Rendon is yeah, this is not who I thought it was. Okay, so we got Montserrat Rendon versus Darya. Wow, that is a last name. Zelenzinikova. Zelenzinikova. Wow, that's. You have any tips on how to pronounce that one, Tim?
Not really. I think you pretty much did the best we could do here. Zelenskova.
Zelenskova. And I have not watched any tape on this fight. I'll be completely honest. So my opinion is going to be short and sweet, and probably should honestly be voided. I kind of think this Russian girl is pretty legit. I'm on the side that she's a decent fighter when it comes to on the feet and getting that striking going. But then we have an undefeated Montserrat Rendon, and she's 35, but she's 6-0. It's tough. But I'm gonna go
hold on a
with.
second. Before you go any further, I'm sorry to interrupt you. She's 6-0.
Yeah.
She's fighting fighters that are 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, 4-4, and then she just got a split win over Vidal, who's 7-1.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that let's granted she is 6-0, but the quality of those six are not top tier.
It's dog shit, if you want to say it completely. So yeah, I'm taking Darya. I'm trying to pull up the exact odds right here because I can't seem to get them on DraftKings for some reason. But first, yeah, Darya is finishing fights. She's got 3 knockouts, actually 4. One of them was ground and pound, I guess. So she's got a round 2, a round 1, a round 2, a round 1, a round 1, and a round 1. She also got pounded out by Melissa Tanya Mullins. But I'm taking Darya. I think she's going to be a little more developed on the feet. And I also just want her to win a little bit because she's 28 years old and a Russian prospect that I think could be really, really fun down the line. And Montserrat, 35, on her way out, not really fighting anybody good. So I'm just cheering for Darya because I think she'd be fun for the division. And also her striking, from what I've seen, which again, I haven't went and watched any full fights or anything, but I think it's pretty decent. So Darya is going to be my pick. I'm going to go knockout. I think she gets her out of there.
All right, yeah, I'm not touching anything on that one.
Yeah, fair, dude. Absolutely fair. Are you picking Darya?
Yeah, I would take her to win.
Okay, I'm really trying to find the current odds on this. It's not showing up on my DraftKings here. It says that Darya is minus 175 on Tapology. So, I mean, if she's minus 175, there's no shot I'm playing that. But we'll pick her. I'm going to pick her by knockout. We're going to go round 1. Some craziness in women's MMA happening here.
Oh, yeah. Real crazy.
All right. We got Steven Nguyen versus Jarno Errens here. And Nguyen, which is the ninja, he is the favorite, and he's a pretty decent favorite. And then we got Jarno Errens coming off of a loss to Sung Woo Choi and a loss to William Gomis, is your underdog here. Again, I'm going to keep it pretty short and sweet. I am really, really low on Jarno Errens. It's not even, anything really against his skill set. It's just when it comes to outcomes of fights. I cannot be high on you if you're losing to Sung Woo Choi, and I cannot be high on you if you're losing to William Gomis. Stephen Nugent beat AJ Cunningham. He beat Theo Railing, and he beat George Juarez in his last 3. So the wins aren't great. And that's what's going to keep me away from any sort of bet here. I'm not interested in betting this because I do not want to bet Jarno Errens at dog money, but I also don't want to trust a guy who's coming off of 3 wins that I don't really know who they are. AJ Cunningham, I know that name, but outside of those other 2, I watched the fights. Okay, fine, you beat him. He got a knockout, he got a decision, and he got another knockout. Okay, great. I'm not high on him. So it's going to be Nugent, I guess, for the pick. I think he gets it done by decision, but zero interest in betting that. And I honestly think this fight's going to suck ass.
Yeah, so, with Errens dropping his, 3 in his last 5, he's on a 2-fight losing skid. When they have these guys fight the Contender Series guys, it's either either a death or a birth. Either one person's career is going to be over, and then the other person's career is going to start. I think I'd go with Nugent as well. But it wouldn't surprise me if Errens could get a win here. But yeah, I'm just gonna go with Nugent. I don't like it. Like you said, this could be a really boring fight, and it could be tight. It wouldn't surprise me if Errens did get the win. But I'm gonna have to go with Nugent.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the other concerning part for Nugent here is he had 3 wins in a row on the Contender Series until Dana signed him. Dana knows what he's talking about when it comes to finding talent with fighters. He watched this guy get 2 wins, one of them being a knockout, and said, meh, I'm good. And then the third time he comes back, he gets a knockout, and Dana finally says, all right, I can't deny you again. Here you go. I don't know. I'm not all that impressed as in making me feel inspired to this guy's good or let me put my money on this guy. I'm not feeling that inspired on it. I agree with you 100%. I feel like Errens could keep this close, even squeak out a dub, down the line with a squeaky 29-28 situation. So it's going to be a pass. And also, it's going to be one of those fights where I just want to see where Nugent is at as well. If he comes out and smokes Jarno Errens, I might have a different opinion of him moving forward. But for now, it's just a sit and watch.
Yeah. All right. This one, man, this card is some of these fights. I don't know if they just don't make sense to me or I'm just not that excited about them. But now we have Miles John versus Cody Gibson, the rejuvenated career of Cody Gibson. Honestly, I think Chapo is going to get it done here. I think he's going to get it done inside the 3 rounds. I think he's going to get a finish. Cody Gibson, he is tough, but he just takes so much damage. Miles Johns is also the younger guy, hasn't taken nearly the same amount of damage that Cody Gibson has had. He's fighting out of Fortis MMA, which is a great gym. Now, I know he only has 6 finishes and 7 decisions, but I do feel that he could get it done. Especially, you have to understand Cody Gibson, even though he's only 36, so it's not terrible making 135. It is actually on that cusp. I'm gonna have to go with the younger guy and with the least amount of damage taken. If you watch any of the Ultimate Fighter, Cody Gibson was pummeled, in a couple of those fights, and then once he got out of that, once they gave him the contract and stuff like that, and he got smoked in another fight. He lost the decision to Brackatona, which Brackatona, whatever you want to say, you're a 2-time tough champion. That's cool. And then he lost. And then he lost to Ray Borg fighting in Khabib's failed promotion. Whereas, I mean, Dan Argueta, I guess they made that a no contest with Miles Johns, and he's got the nice win over Vince Morales. He did get subbed by John Castaneda. That was 2 years ago, but he does have some power that he could possibly get this done. All it takes right now is one good shot on Cody Gibson, and I think he's toast. And I think we're going to talk about another guy like this a little bit further down the road.
Oh, don't fucking say that. I know who you're talking about. Don't be saying that. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you here on Miles Johns. Cody Gibson, I was tempted. I was thinking about it. I was like, all right, you're kind of having a career resurgence, but Katona just lost. Gibson, you're not looking good after Katona loses in his first fight in the UFC. Even though you kept it close with Katona, now Katona's not looking like the goods. It's tough. It's like Cody Gibson, you look tough on The Ultimate Fighter against a bunch of guys who couldn't win in the UFC. That's kind of where we're at here. Is you looked good against guys who couldn't win in the UFC. So then we go over to Miles Johns. Is Miles Johns better than those guys? I have no idea. If Miles Johns fights Brad Katona, I might be tempted to take Brad Katona in that spot. Cody Gibson, on the other hand, I don't know. Cody Gibson also just took a shitload of damage against Brad Katona. Like you said, he's getting up there in age. I don't love Miles Johns. I don't really love him as a bet or really a pick this week. But I guess it's a Cody Gibson fade. I'm taking Miles Johns with you. It is what it is. Like you said, it's the fights I'm not all that excited for. Why is this happening and why is this, something that they're really pushing? Because it feels like Cody Gibson and Miles Johns feels like something that could have happened a few years ago when Miles Johns was a prospect and they were sending Cody Gibson out to slaughter. But now Miles Johns' career is like stalled. He was getting the shit kicked out of him by Dan Argueta. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep rambling for no reason if I keep talking. So Miles Johns.
No, that's fine. But you also got to understand, Argueta is a heavy wrestler and he's a younger guy. He's not a 36-year-old guy making a resurgence at 135.
Yes.
And
I agree
is Argueta up to 145 now?
I think he is, and Argueta's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he was an even bigger body. So, I mean, it is what it is. Miles Johns, probably decision, but it wouldn't surprise me if he stopped Cody.
Yeah, I agree with you. This next one I'm actually excited for. I'm actually pumped for this next one. Ricardo Ramos versus Juicy J Juilian Erosa. And we have an interesting kind of thing going on here. Juilian Erosa coming off of 2 losses. He got knocked out by Fernando Padilla, who was actually fighting later on this card. He got knocked out by Alex Caceres. Alex Caceres, 19-13 record, but he's actually quite a bit better than 19-13 shows. Ramos, he just lost to Charles Jourdain with that sneaky submission, that sneaky guillotine. Charles Jourdain, sneaky good, also sneaky bad at the same time, so that's kind of an interesting loss. He beat Danny Chavez, whatever. He lost to Zabira Tugalv, whatever. He beat Bill Algeo. That's aging all right. He lost to Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy is a fucking beast. So I think this fight comes down to trajectories. We're going to talk about trajectories here. And what it is Ramos trending up. He's from Team Alpha Male as well. Good gym. He's 28 years old. He's getting better between every fight. He also was doing really, really well against Charles Jourdain. Juilian Erosa trending down. I mean, 2 knockout losses. Before that, though, he beat Hakeem Dawodu, which doesn't make any sense. He beat Steven Peterson. Steven Peterson sucks, whatever. He beat Charles Jourdain as well. So, there's a common fight. If you do MMA math, that would make you think Erosa is going to win. But 2 years, 6 months ago, Erosa was a different guy. than the guy who just got knocked out twice. And the guy who's 34 with a 28-11 record, so that's 39 fights under his belt, got knocked out twice in a row. I think he's due to get finished again here, and I think Ramos, good fighter actually. I actually really like this kid. 16-5, so not the best record for a 28-year-old, but he's showing improvements. He's making a lot of stupid mistakes, like in that Jourdain fight, but I'm still high on him a little bit. I still kind of like this guy, so I'm gonna take Ramos. I'm gonna take Ramos honestly by finish. I think he's gonna finish Juicy J and kind of maybe start a little bit of an ascent towards top 25 territory, because right now he's sitting at 38. Couple good wins, he's gonna be touching that top 25, and we're gonna see where he goes, because 28's young. He's got a lot of room to improve.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I mean, the thing that did me in with Erosa is when he got stopped by Alex Caceres. I mean, Alex Caceres, he's all bone. There's not, you know what I mean? He's not a heavy guy. He's lean, lanky, not a lot of mass to him. And when he stopped Erosa, that kind of told me that the tide was turning. And then Padilla got a hold of him and dropped him. So Padilla knocking him out, I get it. You know, that makes sense. Caceres knocking him out, that's a little concerning. He did have a good amount of time off. I think if he was to get the win, it would have to come in the form of submission, or it would be a very, very close, probably a split decision. But I am going to go with Ramos here. I do like Alpha Male. It is surprising that he got caught in a guillotine, especially being at Alpha Male. That's Faber's, number one move. So let's go Ramos. And he will get him out of there. It wouldn't surprise me if Ramos gets the win with a guillotine.
Yeah, dude, I'm surprisingly confident in Ramos this week. That's one of my more confident picks, and he's only, minus 155 right now. The line's not bad. I might chuck a little on minus 155 because I like the kid, and I think he has a favorable matchup here.
But see, that's what I'm saying. They have a lot of these older guys. All these older guys are fighting. There's really the best fight so far is Igor Severino and Andre Lima.
Yeah, it's most evenly matched. Guys
versus, yeah, so this card is really tough because do you go with the old dogs, or do you go with the younger guys getting a second chance? That's the way this card feels to me.
Yeah, it is. It feels like a lot of guys getting taken out to slaughter as well, or at least the UFC's attempt, which some of those older guys are going to come through and they're going to avoid getting the nasty little kick in the butt out of the roster. But some of these guys, they're going to take another loss, and then it's going to be back against the wall. Another loss, you're out of here. So I think that's where Juicy J is, to be completely honest. He loses this, he's got one more, and then the UFC is going to drop him after that, especially if he gets finished here. His neck will be on the chopping block, which is sad because Juicy J's a beast.
Yeah.
I actually took him, I think, in that Padilla fight. I think I had a Juicy J bet because I was like, okay, this guy just beat Hakeem Dawodu 2 fights ago. And Caceres, pretty decent guy, and then he gets, absolutely fucking creamed. So, is what it is. Moving up.
Oh, yeah.
This is our main event. Main event of the evening. Lead us off, Tim.
So we got Trey Ogden versus Kurt Holobaugh.
Whoo!
I'm going to make this one short and sweet, too. Both of these guys, they could put out to pasture. I'd be completely okay with it. Ogden is coming off the premature stoppage against Mota 4 months ago. Before that, he had a loss to Bahamondes, which isn't bad. He's got the win over Zellhuber, which is a good win. And then he lost to the Monkey King. So I mean, we all saw how he ended up doing the Monkey King when he fought, Patty and a couple other people. But I think right now he is the slight favorite. I think that win over Zellhuber and losing a decision to Bahamondes is a better win over Austin Hubbard, Jose Luis Verdugo, and some Josiro Boye fighting in the XFC. Last time he was in the UFC, he lost to Thiago Moises and Shane Burgos. I'm all over Trey Ogden. I don't see this going well for Kurt Holobaugh. It wouldn't surprise me if he got cut after this fight. He's another one. They take so much damage that there's no way they can continue fighting the style that they fight. He's going to go out, balls to the wall, and I don't think it's going to end well for him, especially at 37 years old. Granted, Ogden is only 3 years younger, but he could take him down and submit him. I don't think you have to worry about him getting knocked out. But when Holobaugh starts throwing wild, crazy stuff and gases, that's when it could be a problem, and he can get subbed.
Oh, dude, I've just been over here steaming while you said that. I've just been over here fucking getting boiling while you've been saying that. My boy Kurt Holobaugh is about to, let me tell you exactly how this is going to go. He's going to walk into the octagon. The Samurai Ghost is going to be across the octagon from him. They're going to meet in the middle. Holobaugh is going to throw a junkyard dog hook. Ogden's going to get scared after it connects right to that fat noggin he's got, that Megamind looking head. Our junkyard dog, Kurt Holobaugh, is going to sit back, wait a second. Ogden's going to shoot because he's scared. He said, wow, that fucking hurt my head. What's going to happen? Holobaugh's going to sink in a nasty guillotine as soon as he shoots in. Bam, end of the fucking fight. Plus 130. Easiest bet of the card. Kurt Holobaugh by submission. He's going to make it look easy, Tim. We're going to disagree so hard on this fight, and I love it because Trey Ogden, here's the thing, man. He beat Zellhuber in the craziest fight I've ever seen. I have no idea how that happened. Trey Ogden, I think, used up all of his ability in one single night, because if he fought Zellhuber again, I don't know what happened that one night. Zellhuber would kill him. After that, he loses to Bahamondes, who's okay. But before that, Jordan Levitt.
I know, that's a bad one.
That's a bad one, dude. And Kurt Holobaugh, I mean, there's a difference between guys like, who was that we talked about earlier on this card? Cody Gibson. The older guy, Cody Gibson, coming off The Ultimate Fighter, resurgence of the career. There's a difference between Cody Gibson and Kurt Holobaugh. Kurt Holobaugh, look at these fights. Submission, triangle choke, knockout, left hand, knockout, knees. He's finishing people. This guy's going to take a few to the face, and he's going to keep coming forward, and he's going to finish you. I'm a believer in this Kurt Holobaugh, 37 years of age, career resurgence. I'm a believer. I don't think he should be the dog here. I think he's going to sink up a guillotine, and I think he's going to get Ogden out of there. So this is my favorite underdog of the card, Kurt Holobaugh.
Well, we shall see. So you could put on Tapology, you could put Kurt Holobaugh, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
I just, you can't, it almost upsets your stomach seeing how much damage one person takes every fight. And it's not like it's cuts. It's like his whole face is swollen, bruised. You know what I mean? He looks like Cheeto looked after Cheeto's last fight with Sean. But this guy looks like that every single time he fights. It's terrible.
Yeah, he does. He does take a lot. Let me ask you something. Coffee bet? No, you don't want to put a bag of coffee on Trey Ogden, the Samurai Ghost who lost to the Monkey King?
No. Listen, if he didn't lose to the Monkey King, I would. But that's like Juicy J getting knocked out by Alex Caceres. That's a red flag.
Yeah, dude, that's the craziest. I mean, Caceres doesn't knock anybody out. Caceres doesn't finish. He couldn't even finish his dinner last night, probably. Okay, this is a good fight here, actually. Interesting fight here. We got that guy who's like absolutely massive. He's shaped like a tortilla chip. Fernando Padilla. And he was the one who finished, I believe, Juicy J. And then we got him fighting Luis Pajuelo, who is 8-1. He's from Peru, and he's coming off that Contender Series knockout over Robbie Ring. And I think Robbie Ring was actually the favorite there. So he came through as a dog. You think he's going to come through again, Tim?
Yeah, I'm on him. Just because, like we were talking about before, granted that Padilla got the win over Juicy J and stopped him. Then he had a loss to Kyle Nelson. If you look at his wins, split decision win, a KO in Fury, and then he lost to Spike Carlisle 5 years ago. He can't string them together. So 5 years ago, then 3 years ago, then 2 years ago, then 10 months ago, and 6 months ago, he just came off a loss. So I think this is not going to bode well for him. He's not the type of guy to fight every 6 months, every 2 or 3 times a year. But then he's going up this guy. I think this kid's going to be a hammer, man. He fought Contender Series 6 months ago, won it. All of his wins, except for one, so 7 wins, he's won by knockout. And he's active. He'll fight about every 6 months. So he's fighting and staying active. I think that's going to do a lot. And I think the kid's going to be the hammer. I mean, they're matched up pretty even. The whole reach advantage goes to Padilla. It's about 7-inch reach advantage. But I think this kid from Peru is the real deal. And I think he's probably going to get Fernando out of there.
Yeah, I'm actually on the same side as you here. I think one thing that's being a little bit overlooked about Padilla is the dude has a giraffe neck, and it's very, very skinny. And I feel like when you have a giraffe neck and you're very, very skinny, and the neck is very, very skinny, your head bobbles around when you get punched. And when you're fighting a guy who has, 7 knockouts on his record, your chin's probably at least going to get tested. And when you have a giraffe neck, I think that's a little suspect. So I think Pajuelo is going to tap that chin, test it. And I don't really trust Padilla's chin to withhold that. We saw him. He's gotten tagged before. And he's going to have the length here. So if he can just tap from the outside, he's probably going to be able to pick apart Pajuelo. I just don't really trust him to tap from the outside because this Pajuelo kid, what a fucking animal. Absolute animal. So I'm taking Pajuelo. I think he's going to test that chin, and then giraffe neck is going to go a little sideways, and I think he's going to knock him out, and he's going to be much smaller. He's going to be the much smaller guy here, and Padilla's got the whole frame. He's got the whole look of someone who should be a really, really good fighter, an absolute hammer. I just don't think it's going to work for him because 6'1", 145, 76-inch reach, you got all the intangibles. But at some point, that weight cutting, drying yourself out, that could have an impact on your chin as well. And you're fighting a real tough guy with a lot of power in his hands. So Pajuelo, and by knockout for me, I think that's probably the way I'm going to go as well.
Yeah, that works.
I'm going round 2 knockout. Okay, this is another one I'm actually excited for. Billy Q, which I saw Billy Q get knocked out by Edson Barboza in Kansas City. Billy Q, 35 years of age, 18-5, coming off of that win over Damon Jackson. And he's taking on Yusuf Zalal, who's coming into his second stint in the UFC. So we saw Yusuf Zalal have his time in the UFC, lost to Sean Woodson, draw to Damon Blackshear, and then I believe there's a couple other fights. He fought Ilia Topuria as well. He lost to Topuria. I think it was Topuria's debut. And then Zalal goes, and what does he do? He actually was pretty smart here. He goes and crushes 3 absolute taxi driver, restaurant waitresses, waiters, I guess. Waitresses, couldn't fight him. He fights a guy 6-2. Okay. 9-3. Okay. 0-0. Tim. 0-0. He fights a guy making his debut. That could have been one of us. One of us could have signed up to fight Yusuf Zalal in his last fight. In SCL? You ever heard of that? What is that? Fucking Combat League?
Sparta Combat League. That's where the real gangsters go.
That's where the guys who are 0-0 come to give Yusuf Zalal a little bit of a little push up here. And I just think bottom line here is Billy Q is a borderline top 15 featherweight. He's top 20 for sure. It has him at 18 here. He kind of hovers between 15 and 25. And so I think if you're not a top 15 featherweight, you're not going to really beat Billy Q. He's going to pressure you. He's going to pace you. He's going to wrestle you. He's going to just put an absolute heater of a pace on you for 3 rounds. He's going to have 15 minutes of unlimited cardio to where he's going to be able to go 100% the entire time. Yusuf Zalal has not even been able to win fights in the UFC. He goes and crushes 3 cans and we think something's different. Granted, he's young, but Billy Q is a top 15 guy, like I said. I think Billy Q is going to win this, and I think, honestly, Billy Q is going to win this 30-27 pretty easily, dominating, pushing him up against the cage, getting a takedown here or there, battering him in the clinch, that sort of a thing. I do not mind Zalal, sticking around for a few fights and getting a chance to show him against somebody who's making their debut or somebody who's another lower level featherweight. Like, give this guy a chance to fight somebody who's not Ilia Topuria, Damon Blackshear, Billy Q. Like, give him a fight with somebody who he can compete with. But I also think this line is completely out of whack. It's minus 130 Billy Q right now. I believe, let me go look here real quick. Billy Q by decision is plus 140. I'll have a little bit of that. I'll have a little bit on his money line. I just think Billy Q is going to push a pace and get this one done because Zalal has not shown any sort of ability to win fights or even really, do any damage to good guys. And Billy Q is actually a good fighter. So Billy Q for me, and I think he gets it done 30-27.
Yeah, it would surprise me if Billy Q gets him out of there. His cardio and the pace he puts on people is ridiculous. That fight with Damon Jackson was an absolute barn burner. So I'm excited, but I'm definitely Billy Q money line all day.
Yeah, dude, that minus 130, that actually, to me, might be like the best value on the card. I think Billy Q could be minus 200, minus 250 here, and I wouldn't really bat an eye.
Correct.
Okay. Dude, this next one, okay. We're getting into some good fights now, actually. This next one here, I want to get your opinion first because I'm kind of back and forth here, and I kind of want to hear what you have to say. So, lead us off here.
All right, so we got Payton Talbott versus Cameron Saaiman. First things first, I'm going to go take a prop that a point is going to be taken. I think it's like plus 2,000. I think so far, and at least two or three, maybe even more, maybe 3 or 4. Saaiman's gotten a point taken, and in his wins, he's had to go out there. In 2 instances, I think, finish the fight. But he's going up against another young guy coming off of the Contender Series. He beat Reyes Cortez, and then he got his UFC debut. He won by rear naked choke over Nick Aguirre. On this one, I don't hold the loss to Christian Rodriguez against Saaiman. He is the younger guy. I think he will be okay. But this record by Talbot, I don't think is anything too crazy. I don't think he's gonna finish Saaiman. Um, he's fighting guys that aren't at the highest of levels. He was undefeated in his amateur career, but I think just the experience and being in the fire that Saaiman has, I think that's gonna be a major factor here, and I think Saaiman is actually gonna get the win.
Interesting. I was coming in with the exact same thoughts. I wanted to hear what you had to say because I could have been convinced to stay off of Saaiman if you would have had a great argument for Talbot. But the reason that I texted you, I was like, oh, I'll be a few minutes late, is because I wanted to watch the Talbot fight a second time because I watched it earlier this week. And I thought he looked like fucking doo-doo until he got the finish. He just outpaced this Aguirre guy. Aguirre, or however you say his name, Nick Aguirre, who is kind of ass, if we're being 100% honest. He's kind of bad. He's actually, not a very good fighter. And Talbot just outpaced him and got the finish in the third round. But Aguirre had zero striking. Zero striking. He would just pull guard. He'd fall on his back. He didn't really have anything to offer on the feet. Saaiman's going to have a lot to offer on the feet, number one. And Saaiman is not a scrub on the mat either. Talbot got controlled for 5 full minutes in that first round against Aguirre. That is a massive red flag. Saaiman, if he wants the takedowns, they're going to be there. The biggest thing that could be an issue here is Talbot's size. He's got 2 inches in height and 3 inches in reach, and just a little bit of mass on Saaiman here. But I think Saaiman's got the real skill set advantage everywhere. Like, if he wants to shoot double legs, Talbot was letting Aguirre's arms get locked or hands get locked every single double leg he tried for. So if Saaiman wants to shoot takedowns, they're going to be there. The other thing about Talbot is he just walks forward on the feet with no striking defense, no head movement, literally just walks. And he's not very good at cutting the cage. He just follows. Saaiman is good on the feet. For a 23-year-old, Saaiman is really developed in the striking. He was in there with Christian Rodriguez, who you guys know who that is. That guy is a dog. Even though I didn't think he won last weekend against Dolgarian, he still survived 2 full rounds and then beat the shit out of Dolgarian in the third. So the guy is a good fighter. 5-round cardio for sure. If he gets in 5-round fights somehow, which that would be a long ways down the road, Rodriguez is going to be a problem. And if he can make 135, he's going to be a problem. Saaiman, he didn't slow down a single bit in that third round against Rodriguez. He actually, I thought, started to pick it up in that third round against Rodriguez. Talbot, he just fought a guy who folded in the third round. He got controlled for the full first round, and he didn't really show anything striking-wise. I think Saaiman is going to put a pace on this guy. He's going to be from the outside, working him with leg kicks, working him with a jab, and then also could mix in a takedown here or there. So I think Saaiman plus money, count me in. I'm in on Saaiman here.
I mean, you also have to understand, when he was getting points deducted as well, his coach just told him, this is going to be close. You just got a point taken away. You have to finish the fight. And that's what he did. He'd go out there and finish the fight.
Yeah.
So I like him, and I think they really want to push him, especially being from South Africa. I think that's a market they're really trying to push for to get a good Africa card going.
Yeah, DDP, same gym as DDP, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and he's young. He's going to be getting a lot better. So is Talbot. He's going to be getting a lot better. But I think Saaiman is just – he surprised me with how good he looked against Christian Rodriguez, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, look at this turd.
Edmund Shahbazyan. That is a guy who everyone thought was going to beat Israel Adesanya. And then he lost to Derek Brunson, Jack Hermanson, Imavov, and Fluffy Hernandez. So, I mean, what are we looking at here? We're looking at Shahbazyan, about minus 200 around. And then we got AJ Dobson, 7-2, and plus 150. Actually, I think he's like more like plus 170. AJ Dobson, let's look at his wins. Knockout over Kylan Hill, don't know who that is. Hashim Arkaga, he submitted, who I actually do know who that is. That was on the Contender Series. He lost to Jacob Malkoun. I mean, I don't blame him. Jacob Malkoun is a great grappler. He lost to Armin Petrosian. I don't love that loss. Petrosian's okay, but I don't love that loss. And then he beat Tafan and Chukwu. It's a whatever win. Here's my thoughts here. This one's pretty short and simple for me. Shahbazyan needs to either get him out of there early, or Shahbazyan's going to have some cardio issues. Because Shahbazyan, if you're not able as a 22, 23-year-old man to fight 3 rounds in the UFC, it's not going to get much better. Like, usually some people just have hardware, I guess, maximums. Like, for cardio, some people just can't fight 15 minutes straight, and they just never will be able to. Well, some guys can fight 50 minutes straight. Like, we're looking at guys like Billy Q, who he could probably fight, a 5-rounder and still have some left. Edmund Shahbazyan just does not have that hardware. So Shahbazyan's got to knock him out early, or I think this gets dicey in the second, the third. I think Dobson could just have a tired fighter in front of him and just slowly hit him a few different times. Jab, jab, kick, maybe shoot a takedown or two. Not do anything great. I don't think Dobson really has any finishing upside here. But I do think Dobson could just win over 3 rounds. Am I going to get to betting that? Probably not. Shahbazyan, he's got the power advantage. He really has the upside of the finishing advantage. So I think I'd be smart to pick Shahbazyan, but I also don't want to overlook Dobson here, being able to just survive the early onslaught and then just be a competent fighter standing in front of Shahbazyan and win the final 2 rounds. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I think Shahbazyan is broken mentally. He has absolutely no cardio. So I would pick either a teaser on Shahbazyan in the first, right, to win in the first round. And if he looks really, really good in the first round, then I will hit Dobson live on the money line because we know what he does. So everything you said, I agree with 100%.
I actually like that a lot. Dobson live. Because what do we got here? Dobson. Yeah, Dobson is favored. If he's going to win, decision is his path. I do think, if Shahbazyan has a big first round, you could get Dobson, plus 400 going into the second if Shahbazyan, beats the shit out of him in that first. So I like that. But I'm going to go Dobson decision on here. Just because I'm feeling edgy today. Okay, the big co-main that feels like it could be a prelim opener as well. Feels like if this was a pay-per-view, this would be on the early prelims. But we got Carl, the heavyweight Khabib Williams versus Justin Badman Tafa. It's going to be super short and sweet for me. I am not going to make the same mistake I made last week and the same mistake I made with Junior Tafa. Carl Williams is going to go out there, get a takedown, and beat the shit out of Justin Tafa. End of story. I don't have any interest in, could Justin Tafa knock him out? Probably. Is Carl Williams bad on the feet? Probably. But Carl Williams is going to be shooting nonstop takedowns the entire first round. I think he's going to get him down. I think he's going to elbow him in the face, lay on him, and just do the same thing over and over and over again. So Carl Williams is going to be my pick just because I'm tired of these Australian heavyweights getting taken down and doing nothing about it and not having any answer. And so I'm not even going to allow myself to talk myself into a Justin Tafa by knockout shot. So Carl Williams, rinse, repeat, sniff his crotch, hump him on the ground. That's what I think is going to happen.
All right, I'm going to go Tafa KO.
Okay.
Just for the simple fact that Carl Williams went to a decision in his last fight with your doppelganger, Chase Sherman.
Bro.
This is, you know what I mean? And he beat Lucas Brzezinski, right, in decision. Then he was on the Contender Series. That was a year. He's 34 years old. Granted, it's heavyweight, but you're looking at a guy here who's 9-1, right? His wins are Chase Sherman, who's 16-11, Bresky 8-2-1. Okay, Jimmy Lawson 4-1, Simon Marini 9-8, and Kyle Wright, who is 2-0, fighting in Icon FC. What is that? Masvidal's promotion. So, I mean, if you look at whenever you have Justin Tafa fighting these people, Austin Lane 12-3, knocked him out, right? Parker Porter knocked him out. Harry Hunsucker knocked him out. You know what I mean? He lost to Jared Vendera. That was also almost 3 years ago. But this is what Justin Tafa does. They need this Australian presence. As much as you might not like these Australian heavyweights, I think he is slicker on his feet, and I think maybe he hit him with a nice uppercut, or catches him coming in for a takedown and he clips him. I'm on Justin Tafa. I just think he's the better fighter. I mean, Carl Lynn is fighting in Jorge Masvidal's backyard 2 years ago. Well, I can't believe you're actually even backing him.
Oh,
He's
dude.
got three knockouts and 6 decision wins. Justin Tafa, all of his wins are knockouts. He's 7-3, 7 knockouts, I believe. So he goes in there. He's got he goes in there. He's been knocked out once. That was who knocked him out? Jorgen De Castro. Okay, that was also 2019. So a lot has changed. I think this is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be a test, but he's also stepping in for his brother. So, but he has much more notice than his brother had than when Junior stepped in for him. You know what I mean? So I like him by knockout, and at knockout he's plus 220, which is crazy.
All right.
He's got an extra 25 pounds on this guy.
I don't fault you there. It's more.
I know you don't want to fall. I know you don't want to fall for it.
I
So
do.
then you take Tafa by KO or Carl Williams by submission. That's the play. That is the play.
Yeah, dude. Because the thing is I like the Australian heavyweights too much. Like I like Tai Tuivasa and Junior Tafa and Justin Tafa too fucking much. I like them more than their skill set. That's the issue.
But
And
here's the thing. Though. Carl Williams can't submit a bed sheet. So
he also can't fight on the feet.
Then what do you think? You think they don't know the only way? I mean, this is deja vu. The only way for him to win is to take him down and just hold him there for a decision. That's fine. I will take the chances that he's guaranteed if he makes it out of a round that every round they're gonna start by standing up. So he's got 3 chances to knock him out. And I think that's better than Carl Williams getting a submission or a knockout of Justin Tafa. This seems crazy that he's plus money. Plus money to knock him out, that's all he does. That's all of his wins are knockouts.
Yeah, and also the number is pretty damn big.
Yeah, I could see. Remember when Lewis fought Blades when he came in and Lewis threw that uppercut? I could see the exact same thing happening.
Are you gonna force me into a Tafa by knockout bet?
No, I'll do a coffee bet though.
Oh, dude, I'm not confident in Carl Williams enough for that. This is my Trey Ogden. This is my Trey Ogden.
Now you know how I feel.
Yeah. All right.
So I like Tafa. I mean, it's criminal that I think it's short notice, and we saw what happened to his brother. But I don't think it's the same scenario. He hits you with that left hook. It's good night. We'll see you later. And
yeah,
especially
dude.
when he's got that much more weight on you.
They hit hard, those Tafa brothers.
Yeah. I mean, this card is so bad. This is the co-main event, and it's I mean, I would rather seen Billy Q up here. Or even have Justin Tafa as the headliner.
Yeah, dude. Put Billy Q up there. I would prefer that, but I mean he had a better fight lined up, and then Zalal's coming in on short notice. But yeah, anyways, uh, it's Carl Williams by decision or Justin Tafa by knockout. Those are the two that it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I like that a lot.
All right.
Is that it? Is that it?
We got the main event now here. This is it. All right. So we've got Amanda Ribas, 12-4, coming off of a win over Pinheiro, a loss to Macy Barber, who's a beast. We saw her. She's a beast. A win over Viviana Rougeau, a loss to Caitlin Sermonara, and then a win over Verna Jandiroba. And we got Rose Thug Namajunas, who is coming off of a loss to Manon Firo, who's a beast. A loss to Carla Esparza, the worst fight in UFC history, which Rose just chose not to win that fight. Like, I'm fully convinced she chose not to win that fight because Esparza could not do anything but somehow won. That was the weirdest fight. And then a win over Weili Zhang, and Jessica Andrade. So, I'll let you give your opinion on this one first. I don't have a really big dog in this fight, but I want to hear what you got to say first.
Not much. I really am not interested in this fight. I'm not really interested in Rose, especially after that Esparza fight. I think that threw a lot of people off. Last time she was main eventing, right? Did she against Manon? Did she? I don't think that was the main event.
That was main card, I think, on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, so last time she main evented, everybody, half of the people fell asleep, and it was like, who cares who wins? I think Amanda Ribas is the hungrier fighter. So, and she's a dog. I'll go with her, just because I don't know what kind of headspace Rose is in. It's a funky situation. Going from top of the world, then you lose the worst fight in the world to Carla Esparza, and then you lose your next fight. So now you're on a skid. I don't know. Is she still with Pat? Obviously, she's still with Pat Barry, but I don't know what other coaches they have in there.
She just got rid of, is it Ludwig
Klein?
No, Dwayne Ludovic Klein. Absolute dog, by the way. But she just got rid of one of her coaches. I can't remember who it was. She just said that they're not going to be in her corner this weekend.
Okay, so if she wasn't one of Perillo's.
I can't remember.
I know who. It's the striking coach. Here's the thing. I think she's cooked. I think mentally she's toast. I think she's going up, right? This is at 125?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't see a path for her to win. I think Amanda Ribas is the hungrier fighter. I don't think Rose has it in her anymore. I don't think she wants to do this. I think there's too many distractions, because anytime she fights, it's always, people start talking about Pat Barry and everything like that. I think that she is kind of just going through the motions. I don't think she wants to fight. And I know Amanda Ribas, she's not, the best. But she lost, like you said, Macy Barber, who is going to be going places, Caitlin Chikagian, or Sermonara now. But she does have wins over Jandroba, Arroyo, and Pinheiro, who she just stopped with a spinning wheel kick, which was wild. I'm gonna go with Amanda. I think she's got more of the fight in her. So, and plus her being plus money, I don't mind that, because you don't know. You can't put your money on Rose after watching that Esparza fight. There's, no matter how big of a fan you are, there's no possible way you could do that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I agree. I think The issue is Rose is such a wild card. Like at her best, she might be the best woman fighter in the UFC. Like at her best, she's knocking out Weili Zhang, who no one's been able to do. At her best, she's knocking out Joanna Young Jacek, a Hall of Famer. So at her best, Rose can be an absolute legend, but she's so up and down. Like it's crazy. She goes from knocking out and then beating Weili Zhang over 5 to losing to Carla Esparza in a fight where she looks like she doesn't even want to be there. I think Rose should win this fight. I think Rose is just the better fighter literally everywhere. But there's that chance she just comes into this without the mindset of wanting to win. It's the same exact thing as the Carla Esparza. What if she comes into this gun shy? What if she comes into this not in the right mindset? You know, she could just stand there and get jabbed for 5 rounds and lose a decision again. Who knows? If she does come to fight, if she comes in the right headspace, I think she's gonna finish Amanda Ribas. So that's where you just don't really know what's gonna happen. There's a chance maybe she'll interview or something will come out. The press will ask her something, and there'll be like a little bit of an indication either way. Like she'll be very calm and answer questions and just like kind of be like in the right mindset. Because when you go back to Thug Rose when she was, citing the Lord's Prayer in the face off, when she was locked the fuck in, I don't think there was a girl on the planet at 115 or 125 who was beating her at that point. But then, all the distractions, like you said with Pat Barry, all the distractions of, Thug Rose having time off, all the distractions, and then she comes in and lays an egg against Carla Esparza. So it's just whatever Thug Rose you're going to get, and it's not worth trying to bet, either Hebus at dog money, you could, but then Rose comes out and knocks her out early. It's like, oh, that was a stupid bet. You could bet Rose, and then she comes out and lays an egg like she did against Esparza, and it's like, what the fuck? I don't know what the hell's going on. She's too up and down. You watch it, and you just enjoy whatever fight you get. If it's a slugfest like old Rose, you enjoy it. If it's a egg that she lays again, you go, wow, I think Thug Rose is actually done. But to be fair, that last fight against Firo, she looked really good. She, landed her shots after breaking her hand in the first round against Firo, and Firo is massive. Firo is absolutely massive. So Thug Rose, good showing in that last fight, even though she lost. I think she beats Hebas if she shows up at all. She shows up at 70%. I think she beats Hebas. But anything less than that, she shows up like she did against Esparza. She's just gonna lose a 5-round decision. But I'll take Rose. But my hard-earned money is not going to be anywhere near Rose Namajunas.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing. And now you don't know what 2 losses like this in a row does to her.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm out.
All right, that's the entire card. What are we thinking? Any strong opinions after the fact?
No, I think it's usually when we dog cards like this, the cards are some of the best cards.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think a lot of the I think this is a cleaning house card. To be honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me even if you win and it's not impressive. You get cut. You know what I mean?
I agree. Actually, I think there's a couple people on this where they need to perform, maybe even career best, and if they don't, cut the bait. And I also think there's a few spots where we have some prospects to watch. That Severino versus Lima fight. I think Ricardo Ramos is a prospect. That Padilla versus Pajuelo fight. Even Yusuf Zalal, who's fighting Billy Q, he's a prospect. And then that Talbott versus Saaiman fight, both those guys are prospects. So they got some good prospects sprinkled in with, vet fights and stuff. So there's a chance this ends up being a banger of a card. It just doesn't feel like it thinking about it before. But anyways, that's all we've got. You got any parlays you're gonna do quick before we go?
Probably, not really. I'll probably just do all straights. There's nothing in here that really, really stands out because you got guys that are so old and guys that are so unproven.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna save my capital and hit a couple juicy ones, a couple dogs that we like. So
All right, sounds good. I'm gonna do one parlay, Andre Lima and Ricardo Ramos. That'll probably be my only parlay, and then those dogs that I talked about. I do like Billy Q as well. Have some Billy Q. But yeah, that's probably gonna be it, to be honest.
yeah, no, I agree.
All right, thank you, Tim, and anyone who's listening, thank you as well.
Thank you guys.